Any type of natural disaster or man-made disaster is a psychological event to somebody.
Another important impact is the emotional impact of a disaster. The best predictor of how people will deal with a crisis is what their functional level was before the crisis.
This kind of work is hypnotic, that it is incredibly engaging.
You need to take care of yourself. That's the number one rule. Take care of yourself and your buddy after a disaster.
It's a normal response to an abnormal situation.
To do the greatest good for the greatest number. That's the motto of the Community Emergency Response Team, a nationwide volunteer program administered by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Your local Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT, is an essential resource for helping citizens prepare for emergencies and community public safety services respond to crises and disasters. Hi, I'm Jim Schackenbach, a member of Holden's Community Emergency Response Team, or Holden CERT as we're called. Like all our volunteers, I'm a town resident, trained as a first responder to provide support as needed for events and emergencies that might put a strain on our professional fire, rescue, and other public safety resources. Some of us have day jobs as nurses, teachers, and business people. Others are retired firefighters, police officers, and military personnel. The one thing we have in common is a desire to help our neighbors and ensure the safety and welfare of our community. Over the next few minutes, I'll be explaining more about Holden CERT and our training and introducing you to some of our members so you can hear their stories about why they're emergency response team volunteers. If this sounds interesting to you and you'd like to learn more about Holden CERT, we'll have contact information at the end of the program.
The local CERT teams are really something that the federal government has pushed, and it's a takeoff of the old civil defense with the guys running around with the round hats on. And the federal government is really pushing local capabilities. And you know, the old expression, all emergencies start at home or start locally, is really true. And what the goal is to get community people who know the community and live in the community, trained to be able to help each other really in an emergency. So the federal government's put this program out. They supply us a lot of materials for training. They also supply us a lot of grants. We've gotten numerous small grants, but still nice grants for the CERT team that we use. When I came to Holden, one of the things identified, and I guess in addition to being fire chief, I'm also the emergency management director. And with my EMD hat on, I realized that we really didn't have a lot of resources. And in fact, the resources at the time we used were the fire department, which is great 90% of the time, but when you have an incident that requires both, it leaves us shorthanded. So we set out to create a Holden CERT team, and it's actually kind of part of a regional CERT team. We work very closely with towns of West Boylston, Sterling, Rutland, and Boylston. So the CERT team was created to offer the town or provide the town more resources. When an emergency hits, one of the things that you're always short of is manpower. And this is a way to bring in more manpower to the town at a very reasonable cost or almost no cost, and give us that little bit more depth that we need as emergency management department.
Every CERT volunteer takes part in a comprehensive 9-part training program over the course of several months. The CERT concept and program was developed almost 30 years ago by the Los Angeles Fire Department, initially to help city residents prepare for and respond to citywide catastrophes that could strand them without city emergency resources for several days or even weeks. The program was later adopted and modified by FEMA in the mid-1990s to become a nationwide program designed to help communities and their citizens respond to natural disasters such as hurricanes, earthquakes, and tornadoes. In addition to acting as first responders, CERTs also help residents and businesses prepare for emergencies with information and guidelines on how to develop emergency plans, create their own emergency preparedness kits, and safeguard their property against storm damage and other disasters.
My name is Rebecca Evanoff. I'm the CERT director here in the town of Holden. The CERT team in Holden falls under the Holden Fire Department, which falls under Chief Chandler, who's the emergency manager for the town. The CERT program here in the Wachusett region has been around since around 2007, when an article ran in the Landmark, and we got together with Boylston, West Boylston, Sterling, and Holden, and trained together, and we're the South Wachusett Community Emergency Response Team. And then in 2008, each of the towns branched off and became a point person, which is where I became the point for Holden. I went through the class as a student from 2007 to 2008. In 2010, I went down to the Emergency Management Institute in Maryland and took the class to become train the trainer for CERT and to be the program manager for the CERT team here in Holden.
My name is Angie Spencer. I'm an office manager for a very busy bunch of surgeons. Reason I joined CERT was I saw a very nice ad in the Holden Landmark that was put out by our leader, Rebecca, and it caught my attention. I don't like feeling helpless. I felt helpless during the ice storm. Didn't like that. And the things I've learned with my CERT training make me feel a lot better about how I might be able to handle a disaster.
While professional emergency services personnel are the best trained and equipped to handle emergencies, they may not be immediately available during a community-wide crisis or catastrophic disaster. Community emergency response teams respond in the period immediately after a disaster when response resources are overwhelmed or delayed. Acting as first responders, team members can be an essential advanced resource for professional responders, providing initial basic aid, gathering data, and assessing the situation. CERTs can often provide critical information to the professionals, enabling them to respond more quickly and efficiently when they arrive on scene.
The federal program rolls out the different areas that the team gets trained in, and that covers, I think there's 7 or 8 key areas, but it includes first aid. We teach some firefighting, some traffic control, lost person search and rescue, and so they have a little bit of training in a lot of areas. And it's just enough so we can pair them up with a firefighter, a police officer, a DPW person, and give us that extra set of hands that go out.
As a nationwide volunteer program sponsored by FEMA, every local CERT across the country receives certified training in a variety of public safety skills, such as first aid, CPR, fire safety, light search and rescue, shelter setup and management, disaster psychology, and medical operations. This training enables CERT teams to operate more efficiently and effectively with a wide range of local, state, regional, and national public safety and emergency management agencies. In addition, CERT volunteers can also take part in operations virtually anywhere in the country without additional training, because all teams operate using the same structure, procedures, and communications nationwide.
So the way we've structured the CERT team here in Holden so that we are flexible for people's time, and I respect everybody's outside commitments and things. We run the basic 9 modules of training on a cycle. So if you started tomorrow and you missed the first 3 classes, they're going to come around again, and you can take those next 3 classes, and then you're completed in your training. After you've completed those 9 modules, you're considered a full-blown member. There's extra things that we have offered specific to our area, our region, that we do offer. And once that main push of the 9 modules is finished, you can attend as many meetings after that as you'd like. In addition to the classroom work, there are several hands-on type trainings, because you can listen all you want. If you don't do it, you don't learn it. Search and rescue, there's a urban and there's a rural portion of it, and we've done both. We've searched different buildings, we've searched just general Trout Brook, we've searched on the rail trail, just to keep our skills sharp, get our teamwork going, use the radios, use our equipment. There's tabletop exercises that we run where we take real life situations, could be an overturned rail car, could be an active shooter, could be a flu pandemic, could be a water flood, any of those types of things we'll come up with. It's almost like a game where here's your incident, now what do you do? And we throw in different situational cards and you have to adapt and move with it just like a real disaster would be.
My name's Jim Matheson. I've retired from All America Financial a number of years ago. I put in 33 years there and had a wonderful career there. Things that attract me to CERT include the different experiences you get. For instance, very early on in the program, we ran the shelter in Holden for 2 weeks nearly. I've been involved in setting up, actually going through a biological decontamination tent, and subsequent to that, learning how to set one up and actually operate the tent. Most recently, we've been involved in I was involved in Logan Airport, working with the state police as well as Logan Airport authorities, with 200 other people running through a pretend scenario of a mad gunman.
In Holden, the biggest thing we've used the CERT team for was during the ice storm, and they pretty much ran the emergency shelter for the whole thing. And it was great. I would check in there first thing in the morning, I'd check in at night, make sure they had everything they needed, and the CERT team ran it. They took care of coordinating with other departments for food, supplies, shuttling people for showers, whatever was needed, they just kind of took care of. We've also used them, we've had a couple of big brush fires. They helped do medical triage when people came out of the woods, doing rehab, getting them water, cooling them off, providing food, water, drinks. We've even had them behind a hose and a shovel during a brush fire to come out and help us with some of the cleanup. We're careful not to put them in dangerous situations, but with their training and working with other people who are more thoroughly trained in areas, they can be a great resource for us.
Holden CERT is managed by the Town Fire Department under the direction of Emergency Management Director and Fire Chief Jack Chandler and CERT Director Rebecca Evanoff. Our office and emergency response equipment are located in the Public Safety Annex on Main Street.
The CERT team in Holden falls under the Holden Fire Department, which falls under Chief Chandler, who's the emergency manager for the town. We maintain our main cache of supplies over at the old fire station and a little bit over at the new public safety building. We have equipment that we've acquired through several different grants, ranging from cots to a used Air Force truck that we've had painted and donated, and it carries our gear from the fire department to brush fires. It's a better means to get our equipment places rather than cramming it in people's cars.
So the Holden CERT team operates out of the former fire station, which we now call the Annex. After we moved into the new building, that building was rehabbed, and the CERT team has an office there. They get to store a lot of their equipment there. They have meeting space there, and so that's really their home base, and it's really pretty nice setup for them. I think it gives them the space they need and really gives them a home. Before that, when we were all in that building, they really didn't have a home, and now they have somewhere they work out of. Some of the equipment that's there, we have a CERT van, which is a old Air Force van that we got through the Department of Defense Surplus Equipment Program. Sunnyside Ford painted it for us, and so it looks very official, and that's their mode of transportation. We recently got a trailer for moving equipment around in that. Another grant that we received just this past month, or actually I think I got the final paperwork yesterday, is for an all-terrain vehicle. And this is a four-wheeler that'll hold a couple of people and some equipment, something that we can use during ice storms, something like that to get around. We can use it during brush fires, large public events like Holden Days to move around, move equipment around. So that's a nice addition to their equipment. The federal government puts out a couple grants a year. They're usually in the $1,500 to, I think the largest one we got was the recent one for the ATV was $7,500. And that's allowed us to buy a lot of emergency supplies. With traffic equipment, cones, tripods. We've got portable radios, vests for all the members, coats for all the members. One of the things we do is each member is outfitted with a backpack that has kind of it's a grab and go type of kit with flashlights, some first aid equipment in it, compass in it, all kind of the stuff they might need in a hurry that they can keep in their car so that if they get a call, they can take off pretty quickly.
After completing the training program, CERT members are issued emergency response equipment and backpacks designed to enable them to respond quickly and effectively to a wide range of situations and crises that might require first aid, building entry, emergency utilities shutoff, or search and rescue. Team members are then ready to be deployed as an entire unit or as smaller multi-responder teams as needed.
The actual equipment that the CERT team has, almost all of it was put together without using tax dollars from the town. Some of the stuff they do, comes from the emergency management budget, but I think our budget's about $2,000 a year, so not a lot of it has come from that. The equipment is maintained by the CERT team, and we recently got a grant which gave us some generators, some tents, things like that. So the CERT team is tasked with keeping those in running order, making sure the generators start. We got some gas pumps that we use, cooling stations, misting fans. You may have seen them at Holden days. So all this equipment is over in that building. Some of it's in the CERT van ready to go, some of it's standing by, so depending on what the call is, what the emergency is, they can take what equipment they think they need and then go out to help, whether it's help the citizens, help the police, help the fire, or even other towns. The team's ready to go.
As part of the South Wachusett Regional CERT program, we operate in conjunction with the community emergency response teams in Boylston, West Boylston, and Sterling, often sharing training resources and assisting each other's teams as needed.
Well, my name is Ray Sherborne. I've lived in Holden since 1978, so not quite a native, but getting there rapidly. I'm recently retired from the Postal Service and also from the volunteer fire department here in Holden. I was on that department for little over 27 years. Well, the reason I got involved with Holden CERT was because I wanted to give back something to the town that has basically provided a lot of services for me and my family over the years. And having been on the fire department, I figured that I could offer something to the CERT program that perhaps others didn't have. One of the things that I found valuable about the CERT training is that the scenarios that they present in our training are based upon real events that can happen. So we're training to be prepared for emergencies that are going to occur, whether it's fall, winter, spring, summer. We're training on what happens during those different seasons. First and foremost, we're there as an assistant to the major emergency departments in town, and our training is geared towards assisting those units.
The Holden CERT team's made up of, I think we have about 20 members now, 12 of them are very active, and we're always looking for new members. We need a little of everything, from retirees to people who might have time an evening, a month, or a weekend to help. And when they come, they join. We'll train them in a number of these different areas. And for instance, we'll do medical training, and it's basic first aid, some CPR, how to use a defibrillator, and how to triage. So if we had a big incident, they would at least be able to work with the EMTs on the fire department and the firefighters and help us to maybe apply some bandages, do some simple splinting, things like that. So it's not in depth, but it just gives them a light overview of it. We'll do some searches, teach them how to do searches, both in a building, if, after the ice storm, if we had a lot of trees on houses, how to safely go in and see if there's anyone in that house, how to mark the house that it's been searched, so that other people won't have to research it. Again, it's just the top brushing of the training for things like that. Traffic control, we usually have a police officer come in and just go over the basics with them on how to direct traffic, which, if you've ever tried it, it's great for about the first 10 minutes, and then you'll pull your hair out. One of the other things that we teach them is firefighting, and again, we're not giving them gear and hoses to go running into burning buildings, but we do fire extinguisher training, how to use a fire extinguisher properly. We do some brush fire training on things you can do safely to assist the firefighters. Firefighter rehab, bringing us water, maybe assisting with changing air bottles on packs, helping us pick up. We always like people to help us pick up and roll hose, so I'll get a little overview on that. Some hazardous materials training, just enough to know what's hazardous and to stay away from it. We don't expect any of the CERT members to get deeply involved in it, but just to have a basic knowledge of it. So there's a number of areas. None of them are super intense. It doesn't require someone, a chemist, to be a member. And we are always looking for members, and really we just need people who have some time to put in, some ambition, and maybe one or two skills that they can lend to the team.
CERT provides you the opportunity to get involved in things and practice things and do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. Search and rescue is another great example. In addition, a lot of the skills you learn are valuable in everyday life. So it's not just when you're at Logan Airport getting shot at. It's preparation for emergencies, preparing your family, your kids, your home, being sure that you have all you get your act together for whatever might befall us. And one of the things that I really like about CERT is that there is no requirements to attend X meetings a week, X meetings a month. There are no shifts that you have to sign up for. You don't Saturday nights or be available to commit to certain time frames, that type of thing. So it's nice in that if something else comes up and I'm drawn away, I don't feel like I've abandoned my team or abandoned the CERT program. That's part of what's expected. There are going to be other things that you're going to be doing with your life, and if you're available and they call and you can make it, that'd be great. If you're not available or you're not around, as oftentimes I'm not, then I can't make it. But there's certainly no guilt trip. There's no requirement. It's a nice fit for people that are busy, that have got a lot of other things going on in their life.
And I would really encourage everybody to spend some time thinking about this and join if you can. I work 50, 60 hours a week. I find the time to do 90% of these meetings, and none of them have been wasted time. So I would really encourage everybody to consider it and do it. Because there will be a hurricane, there will maybe be an earthquake, there will be a fire. More people ready, the better.
Holden CERT, like CERT teams across the country, is dedicated to making our community safer, more prepared, and more resilient for incidents and emergencies. If you're interested in joining our team or just want more information on how to safeguard your family, your home, or your business, check us out online, drop us an email, or give us a phone call. Thanks for watching.